Hi, this is Spencer Colgan from Spencer Colgan is Wallpaper. Now, I made this video because I'm hanging a very special wall cover. Take a look. Okay, that's a Cork wall covering. It's a very fine wall covering, and this is made by York, the folks up in Pennsylvania. But it's a unique wall covering, and I want to discuss some of the nuances with regard to installing this stuff. Okay, the directions call for putting the glue directly on the wall covering. And I have tip number one. First of all, I want you to treat it like it's grass cloth. You cannot get any water on the front, and you can't get any glue on the front either. This is cork. This is the stuff that you'll find that you use your pinups. All right, but it's also the material that's used for, it's a very thin layer on it, they put a backing on it, and it has become a very fine wall covering. So rule number one is you're gonna use a table. I would not use a pasting machine for this. I put two tables together, roll it all out, put the glue on the back. That's number one. Number two is you wanna make sure that you don't wet it down too much, because the backing is very porous and it could actually stain the front. So that's another problem with this wall covering. So, but the other thing is, if it's too sticky, this doesn't move that much. So when you land the wallpaper, you have to have your first line, and you have to make sure that your right edge or your left edge, wherever you're landing the wallpaper, is right up against the line. Let me just show you a couple of things as I do this, all right? Just watch. Now, what I was going to suggest is that you use wax paper, the ones that you use like if you're putting cookies on a tray, and then you just use this so that you don't scratch the cork, okay? Now, if you're heavy-handed, I want you to get a 12 by 12 or larger piece of wax paper, the stuff that you cook with, and simply about this big. Put it over the wall covering so that you can push your bubbles out very gently. Because this cork, if you should press too hard on this, you're going to void the surface. Okay, there's little divots on this, and if you push too hard, you're going to make holes in it, okay? So I'm not going to do that, but if you're heavy-handed, don't do what I'm doing. Simply use a barrier between your smoother and your wall covering, okay? Let me just continue. Okay, so let's take a look at our level one. Okay, so far we're perfect on the line, okay? The other difference with this wallpaper is this. If you should get buckles in this stuff, or bubbles, you're not going to treat this the way you would a vinyl wallpaper installation. You can't just put too much pressure on this and be pulling at it. it's not going to move. It'll actually tear. When you land this wallpaper, you want to make sure that you have it 90% laid out, because it doesn't lend itself to a lot of manipulation, okay? So, and that's a good thing. There's not a lot of play in it. You know, once you get it up, that's it. You're installed. But if you should try to start stretching this, you'll find out you'll regret it. Okay? That's all I want to tell you. Now, just take it from another angle. Put you over here. Let you watch this. Okay. Now lastly, let me just show you something. So this is advice I have on the number one, the first sheet you put up. You see I made my line here? If you look, you might see it just beyond this edge. When you get the wallpaper installed, just move the cork wallpaper over to cover the line. You don't want a dark edge in there to be showing in your seam, okay? So, in other words, if you left your line there, the pencil line, and then you put your other sheet up to it, don't you think that's going to show through the seam? All I'm saying is just push it over, you know? Make sure that you cover your chalk line, and that's it. So that's our first sheet. I'll show you the second sheet that goes up. We're not going to do a double cut. We're going to do a butt joint. Okay, this is Spencer Colgan from Spencer Colgan is Wallpaper, and there you have Cork Wallpaper from York. Thanks for watching. Please click on like and subscribe.